So we'll go ahead and start the meeting. Good evening again. Today, July the 9th, we'd like to recognize that we're going to start our meeting. We have a quorum. Ms. Jenkins, would you please do roll call?
Ms. Richards, Mr. Toller, Ms. Abrams, Mr. Westmoreland,
Present.
Mr. Duncan, Mr. Anthony,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mr. Piazza,
Here.
Ms. Dominguez.
Present. We'll go ahead and do our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Trent Anthony, would you mind leading us?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. First item on our agenda tonight, consider approval of the board minutes from our June 18th, 2024 meeting. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion by Mr. Westmoreland. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Piazza. Any discussion? Any comments? Or vote your device?
Voting is open.
Yes, for me, please. Never mind, got it now.
Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Moving on to our committee reports, we have Finance and Audit Committee from June 18th. Do we have a motion to accept that committee report?
Motion to adopt.
Mr. Westmoreland makes a motion. Have a second?
Second.
Mr. Anthony has a second. Any discussion on the Finance and Audit Committee report? Seeing none, then vote your device.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Our next item in our board actions, number A, consider approval for the resolution relative to jury trials, and we're going to switch that to Mr. Westmoreland, please.
The resolution reads that be it resolved that it is in the best interest of the Tangipahoa Parish School Board to waive the prohibition against jury trials and litigation against the political subdivision, and to authorize any attorney representing the Tangipahoa Parish School Board to waive the prohibition against jury trials by demanding the same in any pending or future lawsuit as it deems appropriate. The resolution hereby effectively waives the prohibition against jury trials in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 13:5105. Just as a way of an explanation is, you can't have a jury trial against a political subdivision unless they waive that right, and this gives our attorneys the authority to waive and have a jury trial if they wish. The mindset today is juries are more conservative than some judges. They've lowered the threshold from $50,000 to $10,000, so if there's a demand for a suit that's over $10,000, then a party could demand a jury trial. So, agree with that, Al?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's pretty much the mindset to allow our attorneys to exercise that right.
Motion to adopt.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Piazza. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Anthony. Thank you, Mr. Westmoreland. Any discussion or any questions? All right, we'll call for a vote. Ms. Jenkins?
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, moving on to B, consider approval of the resolution adopting our 23-24 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire as required by part of our Tangipahoa Parish School System Auditing Annual Financial and Compliance Audit. Mr. McNeely.
This is the same questionnaire essentially that you approved last year. We're required by state law to approve it and provide it to the auditor at the beginning of their audit, which we just finished our school year, so our fiscal year, so our auditors should be coming in shortly.
Motion to adopt.
We have a motion by Mr. Westmoreland,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Piazza. Mr. Al, are we required to read this resolution, or? Okay. A resolution adopting the 23-24 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire as part of a required part of the Tangipahoa Parish School Systems Audit, Annual Financial and Compliance Audit. Whereas the legislative auditor requires that the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire be completed by the Tangipahoa Parish School System and adopted by the Tangipahoa Parish School Board, and whereas the questionnaire must be presented to the auditor at the beginning of the annual audit, and whereas the auditor will test the accuracy of the response to the questionnaire during the course of his audit, now therefore be resolved that the Tangipahoa Parish School Board does hereby resolve that the attached Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for our Tangipahoa Parish School System be and is hereby adopted. Do we have any questions? Any comments from the board? Okay, Ms. Jenkins, we'll call for a vote.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, we're skipping D tonight. Do you need to explain any? I mean, C.
I think we need a motion to table.
You want to table it? Okay, we'd like to table C.
Make a motion to table item C.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Anthony,
Second.
second by Mr.
Piazza?
Piazza. Okay.
Is that, that's what I
Well, both of them did,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's taking it, so we'll give it to Mr. Piazza. And do we have any questions on that? Okay, call for a vote then, Ms. Jenkins.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
All right, moving right along, Mr. Valaruda, we have some recommendations from you. Consider approval for the recommendation for all past, future, and Hurricane Ida program management assistance.
Yes, ma'am. Recently, we've been getting from GOSEP some questions about floods and some past storms, and we don't have anybody to research those quickly. And then also in looking at what's coming, this RFP will allow us to get a company on board to look at all the current IDA projects, the past projects, and anything in the future should we have another storm coming up. And this is the winning company was HGA with 282 points.
Okay, we'd like to entertain a motion for this.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion. Mr. Anthony, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Jerry, do we have some discussion?
What was the overall cost of this?
The cost, well, currently, the monthly cost for DCMC is a little bit over $24,000 a month. It started off and now it's dropped down to $6,000, but it is all reimbursable by GOSEP, by FEMA, those funds.
So is that going to be the cost related to this, or we
Yes,
don't?
ma'am. The cost of these costs will all be related to reimbursement costs for their services.
So the scoring sheet, though, is just a score. It doesn't really have a cost attached, correct?
Right, because it's a service that they're providing.
Service. And is there going to be a contract? That
Yes, ma'am. There's going to be a contract.
So these people will go after FEMA?
They'll go after the hazard mitigation for flooding, like CDBG grants, just all of the Stafford Act. All these fall under the Stafford Act. And hazard mitigation, like the bad electricity, that's at a lot of our schools. Under hazard mitigation, we get 75% back or up to 75% back should the paperwork be filled out properly. And so that's what we're going to ask these guys to do for us, and to recover a lot of money for these buildings that have some, from flooding, and where the property floods in the entryways and coming into the schools, and all that falls under hazard mitigation.
So Terry,
And
basically,
404.
this contract would cover this company doing all the paperwork
Yes, ma'am.
of storm or, hurricane
Yes,
damage, whatever?
They will interact to go set for us.
Yeah, and it's reimbursable
Yes,
back to the
ma'am.
district.
Yes, ma'am.
With the cost of the repair or the cost of the company is reimbursable?
The cost of the company filling out the paperwork.
Gotcha. And then what's
And then,
your suggestion is that if we use this company to go after the grants, then 75% of the project could be paid for by way of a grant?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And just so we're clear, is this what you're bringing tonight, locking us in with this company, like it's done, or is this just for administration to go forth with a contract and bring us the contract?
Well, this is to go forth with this company.
Any other questions?
Well, generally speaking, and, I'm not an expert, but normally we'd have a breakdown of what we can expect to pay for something, I guess, in the financial, because when this comes up in the board meeting, if it comes up in 2 weeks, it's just we're gonna pass these, no, never mind, we're passing the minutes, we're not doing minutes right now. But that being said, is there any kind of expectation of cost going forward?
It depends upon the amount of work. Like I said, DCNC, until I came on board, their monthly cost was over $24,000.
Okay.
And then after scrutinizing their contract, the next month it dropped down to $6,000
Gotcha.
a month, which is all reimbursable through the grant, through the Stafford Act,
Okay.
based on what they've done to get us the money that we have recovered. Yes, yeah.
Can you, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
So in the RFQ, they're asked to provide a rate sheet. So
Okay.
all the services that they're doing are hourly. They have to submit the hours.
Got it.
And then it's an hourly rate, and that's part of the
Okay.
evaluation process.
So if we have zero damage, it might be $0. If we have another catastrophe, it could be tens of thousands. Yes, essentially.
It'd be way more than that.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
They're the ones that go back and help us get our money for the projects that we're.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I understood. Thank you.
So would it be proper to say that our investment is well worth the return?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Millions of dollars worth of
Pretty
return.
much, that's what we're
Yes, sir.
doing here.
Yeah, they do the paperwork.
So would it be possible, this board will vote on this tonight, but we still have to approve these minutes at our next meeting.
Okay.
Would it be possible to have some other documentation?
I can get
to
the rate
look at
sheets for you.
before the next meeting, so we'll.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, hang on, no, if
Because
it's,
this is board agenda.
yeah, this is
This is
board.
board agenda, but next meeting, we have to approve these minutes.
That's correct.
I can
So
get
if
you
we
the
could
rate
have some
sheets.
kind of documentation that
Yes,
if
ma'am.
anyone has any questions next time, then we can, address that or whatever.
Yeah, and.
Okay,
and
any
these
other
were the-
questions?
No.
Any other discussion? Then call for a vote, Ms. Jenkins.
Voting is open. Voting is closed. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, our last report comes from our superintendent. It shows some recommendations. Ms. Dilly?
Yes. First of all, under 4A, we have some legislative acts that have recently been passed by our legislators that's going to require some revisions to our board policy so that they align to the state law. And so we have a list of policies here that I'm going to recommend to the next policy meeting. And all of these policies have to do with the legislative acts that were recently passed. So the first one is consider approval to refer these revisions to policies. First one is EB, Buildings and Grounds Management. GAMA, Employee Tobacco Use. IDCH, Home Study Program.
IDE, co-curricular activities and extracurricular activities, IDFA, interscholastic athletics, IHA, grading systems, JBE, truancy, JCDAA, student tobacco use, JCDAE, student use of electronic devices, JD, discipline, JDD, suspension, JDE, expulsion, JGCE, child abuse, to the policy committee. And these are all, we have recommended revisions from forethought on these legislative acts that have been passed.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to.
Motion to refer those to policy.
Second.
Westmoreland make a motion, Ms. Jenkins, Mr. Piazza makes a second. Any questions? No comments, then call for a vote.
Voting is open.
It's a tongue twister.
Yes.
Maybe we'll try to do those next Thursday.
So if we, I guess, between now and our next policy committee, which is probably going to be pretty soon.
Yeah, and I was going to ask if we could
We'll
split that
kind of
up.
try to review these.
Tuesday.
That's what I was
Next
saying.
Tuesday? Next Tuesday, we'll have policy committee meeting.
Is there any way that we can split some of these, like do
Voting
one
is
on one
is
and one on the other?
closed. Motion passes unanimously.
So next Tuesday, the 16th, we'll have policy.
No way.
We might just start a little earlier,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they supposedly is in accordance with the statutes that have been passed, so.
Yeah.
Okay, item 4B, general updates. I have a few. Number one is on next week, starting July 15th, the student reports for LEAP will be uploaded into the Parent Command Center. So parents can go in and access their child's LEAP score from the spring. And so those will be happening. We've emailed both students and families about this, and we'll continue to notify them with the address that we have, the email address that we have on file. Also, the toolkit for back to school is up and ready. We're continually adding, and we'll be adding more things to it as we get up to the start of school. We have now about 4 weeks. But it has a good bit of information. It's your go-to place for families to get anything you need for back to school in terms of information. Also, free uniforms this week for families, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we've also notified families about this and students. We have it on our Facebook and social media as well. But it's at St. Helena Church here, and they meet in the hall and Holy Ghost Parish Hall in Hammond. It's free uniforms, Thursday all day from 8 to 4, and Friday from 8 to 4, and then Saturday from 8 to 12. And so we encourage families to go out. You can you order what you need right there that day, and you pick it up at that same time. So you don't have to make I think in prior years you ordered it, and then you went back another day and picked it up. Now the process is you do it all while you're there. And then the last thing is just encouraging families to stay connected. You know, sometimes cell phone numbers change over the summer, email addresses or addresses change, and log in to our system and update all that, because that's the way that we communicate directly to our families and students. And then also make sure that you're following us on social media. Every day we're putting out at least 1 or 2 posts that is important information for families to know as we move up to the start of school. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad that the toolkit's getting updated. People are asking about the new changes to uniforms and all of that.
All that's in there. Yeah.
Good deal. Okay, so personal privilege, we'll start with Mr. Joey.
Not much really here. I know we're kind of ramping up towards the start of the school year. As Ms. Stilley just said, we got 4 more weeks. That's really scary for me because my wife's a teacher, so that means she's going to be a nervous wreck in the next few weeks getting her classroom ready. I just want to kind of, while we have this stage to talk, I really want to thank our legislators. They are doing a wonderful job. This is the most we've seen in education reform in a very long time in the state of Louisiana. I think they're doing a great job. The only thing I just want to make sure all of our representatives know and our constituents know that I know a lot of these things come down and they're hard to make these decisions, but if we're going to make discipline a top priority, which I think it needs to be by far one of the top priorities that we have, because that runs away more teachers than we know, we also need to make sure our legislators are knowing that if discipline is going to be a big priority for them, it needs to be taken out of our school score. Because we know for a fact discipline should not be in your school score. That should be your LEAP scores, your attendance scores. That's where that needs to be. If discipline cannot be a two-sided sword for us as a school system. So I want why I can say that, because I know legislators watch this thing, and I want to make sure everybody knows I'm very happy with what's going on in our state when it comes to education. Just make sure you keep the school boards in mind, because our school score accounts for a lot of things, for our funding, for our morale, for our teacher employment, for our student enrollment. We need to make sure that our scores are the best that they can be, and we're given every tool that they can be the best they are from our legislators. Other than that, I hope our teachers enjoy their last 4 weeks of freedom. Make sure you get all your mental stuff ready and good to go. Like Ms. Stilley said, we have free uniforms in our communities in the next few days. Please take that advantage to go get those things. We know times are rough, inflation's high. We're trying to do our very best as a community to support our students and staff. Thank those organizations and our community partners for what they do, because we can't function. It takes a village. So thank everybody, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Mr. Anthony?
I don't have much today.
You don't have much or nothing?
No.
Okay. Mr. Westmoreland?
I'm good.
Gary?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. Ms. Tilly, anything else? Okay, I would just like to make a comment about my recent travel. I was afforded the opportunity with Louisiana State School Board Association and the COSBA, the National Association, to travel to Missoula, Montana for our leadership summit, and it was all of the presidents and officers from all of the 25 states that are in our new organization, and it was a great networking opportunity. We learned a lot. We did so many things to network together. What is your state doing that can help us, and vice versa. Also, our national board, we adopted some new changes to our strategic plan, like we just did for our parish. But I also would like to note that our Louisiana State Board President, Mr. Vernon Travis from Vernon Parish, stepped up into the seat for president of the national organization. So Louisiana is represented as our president. He is our president as well as our national organization president. And I was appointed to the executive team for that. And so now that's another meeting I get to do. Oh, it's via Zoom, thank goodness. But it will be a little more prestigious and a little more enjoyable, I think. Also, Mr. Vernon appointed me to the Washington, D.C. Advocacy Committee, which is also going to be a lot of fun with an election year coming up. But I'm excited for the challenge. I look forward to everything we can do that's going to come back to Louisiana to help us as an established association and to help all of our parishes across our state. So I'm really grateful for that opportunity. So with that, if we have no other things, we'll motion to adjourn.